You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
This is East Carolina Hall of Famer and Utah Jazz first-round draft pick Blue Edwards. You're listening to Pirate Basketball Overtime on The Sports Objective, your home for the best East Carolina hoops coverage.
All right, welcome in to Pirate Basketball Overtime here on the Sports Objective as the Pirates get a big win. And what a great game that was in double overtime, 78-77 over the George Mason Patriots. And with me, my great buddy from China Grove, North Carolina, Bubba Rosenbaum. Bubba, what's up, dude?
What's going on, Dave? Yeah, nice to be back for another season of Pirate Basketball Overtime, our season debut. East Carolina off to a 4-0 start, wins. Division I wins over Coastal Carolina and George Mason. And yesterday, what a thriller. Hate that I could not be there. But the entire starting five scored in double figures, and they needed to, as we'll dive into. But what a game by R.J. Felton, especially down the stretch there in the second half. And in the two overtimes, he made clutch shot after clutch shot. And, it was a lot of fun to watch. And there were a few occasions where you kind of thought maybe here we go again with some of the plays that we made, but we found a way to get it done. And RJ, really, he and Jordan Riley, came up big time and again.
No doubt. And Bubba, you want to talk about R.J. Felton tonight? Shameless plug. We'll have, of course, our Pirate football playback. I felt like on Thursday night. I don't know how you felt in Tulsa. RJ, listen to me. I knew I was going to do that. Rajay Harris took the team on his back and got those touchdowns, and we win the game, and Tulsa be bowl eligible. So watch tonight as we talk more about that. But I felt like the reason I brought that up, man, the gentleman beside me, I need to introduce myself. We talk from time to time, and he said, man, that was clutch. And I said, I made a mental note to mention that on the show today because it was clutch. That was in regulation, but of course, in overtime, he hit a big shot, that three, but we'll break down the game. But I really, really, really enjoyed the game. Shout out to Pirate Nation, the atmosphere. I think they had it listed at, I told you, I believe, 3,916.
Yeah, that's correct.
And 3,916. I'm not the numbers guy like Bubba, but I'm going to tell you something right now. It was, Bubba, you've been there in like that Charlotte game you sat with me. It literally was so loud at the end of regulation and both overtimes that I was like, this is exciting brand of basketball. And you look at it, I asked the coaches, and by the way, if you were just joining us, I want to let you know that you can check out all the exciting action. There was a terrible cameraman. I'll give props to Bubba for putting everything together. But he did a great job for yesterday's game, as many highlights as possible. And I'm joking that cameraman was me. So don't think it's anybody in the administration. I don't want to start any rumors. But anyway, we had a great time yesterday. And then, of course, with the press conference, I asked Coach about everything, Bubba, is that it feels like with this team, I don't know how you feel. I wanted to ask you here on overtime. This team is playing more aggressive this year than I've seen in a long time with Pirate basketball.
Yeah, we got a lot of new pieces, of course, from the portal. And unfortunately, Travion LeBeau was unavailable yesterday, but the other guys stepped up and, essentially the starting five because as Johnny Robertson, a.k.a. Johnny Stats, pointed out in our group text after the game, that our bench had just 3 points yesterday afternoon. But fortunately, that starting five came up big. We did not shoot the basketball well, but more shots went in down the stretch when we needed them to extend the game. The Pirates trailed by 5 on at least 3 occasions. And it was a game, as we were just discussing off the air before we went live, that you had 10 ties and 11 lead changes. So it's seesaw affair, throughout that one.
We definitely got our money's worth free basketball twice as Pirates played 50 minutes. And Bubba, the stat that I looked at that I didn't know right before in our pre-show meeting, the free throws, 23 of 32. The Pirates have never known really for in basketball history for the free throw shooting, but 71.9%. And you think about it, if they miss 2 free throws, we lose the game. So 23 of 32, if you get 70% or better, usually is the gold standard in free throws. And we had 71.9. And to me, that's not, I'll tell you another thing. I haven't looked at the stats, Bubba, but help me. Well, another stat to look at is rebounding. I thought we did really good on the glass, offensive and defensive rebounding yesterday.
Yeah, we really did. Taking a look at the numbers, 24 offensive rebounds for ECU, 49 rebounds on the whole. You had the Pirates out rebounding the Patriots 49-40, and again 24-11 on the offensive glass. And so there you see, despite shooting just 33%. For the game, how the Pirates were able to win. You had George Mason shot 43%, but because of all those offensive rebounds and shooting a decent 71% from the charity stripe, as you mentioned, 23 out of 32, we were able to overcome a poor shooting day. And we'll go ahead and run through these numbers. I mentioned 5 Pirates in double figures, and it was the starting 5. Which scored 75 of ECU's 78 points. You had R.J. Felton. R.J. played 46 of the 50 minutes, just 8 out of 25 from the floor, 2 out of 10 from 3, but 9 out of 10 from the charity stripe, 27 points and 8 rebounds, and also 4 steals for the senior from Aiken, South Carolina. You have Jordan Riley. Jordan was second on the team in scoring yesterday, 15 points, 10 rebounds, one of 2 Pirates with double-doubles, and that was in 43 minutes. C.J. Walker in 44 minutes had 12 and 12, including 8 offensive rebounds. He was 6 out of 10 from the line, but those 4 misses, it seemed like, and certainly 6 out of 10 isn't anything to write home about, but those 4 misses were in crunch time, so it seemed almost as though he missed more than 4 free throws because there, at the end of regulation in the 2 overtimes, he was going 1 out of 2, 1 out of 2, just splitting a pair. But yeah, CJ's a heck of a player, and very glad he chose to be a Pirate. Again, finishing with 12 points and 12 rebounds in 44 minutes. Jay Woodard, 11 points and 7 rebounds, including 3 trifectas. Really nice to see Jay, have a great day from beyond the arc when the other Pirates were struggling, as he accounted for 9 out of ECU's 21 points from deep. And then Cam Hayes. Cam has been very solid. Nice to see him, be around and producing from the get-go instead of 10 games into the season or whatever it was a year ago. And Cam had 10 points, 5 assists, and now through 4 ball games has 17 assists to just 2 turnovers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the game was extremely exciting, Bubba. I thought the crowd was great. The atmosphere, the people are, the great thing about our fan base, and I always brag about a fan base. When Joe Dooley was here, he was talking about we got to put a great product on the floor. I'm sure, obviously, Coach Schwartz would agree that, but you put a great product on the floor with like Coach Schwartz has, and these guys are playing really hard. Their defense, the intensity of the game, it's a very exciting brand of basketball, and so my hope is that we continue that, and with the Boardwalk Battle coming up this, I think it's Daytona. But certainly, Bubba, I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I know you feel the same way. I said when I retire, I hope I'm in good health where traveling down to Florida to see my Pirates or wherever the Pirates will be playing will be great. But right now I have to I have to work for a living, so I'm not able to. I wish I could go to that boardwalk battle this week.
Yeah, of course, this is one of those events. I mean, when you see these MTEs on television, I mean, they're very rarely well attended because of what you're saying. I mean, and that's really understood going into it. Outside of a few exceptions, they're not going to be very many people in attendance. Several hundred to definitely no more than 1,000 or two. But yes, great opportunity. Kind of like the trip that the team took back in the summer to the islands. Going to play a couple games in the Bahamas, and this will be a nice experience, for playing a lot of basketball in a short period of time, and then spending time with each other and getting to grow and continue to establish that team chemistry as you move throughout non-conference play and progress toward the American schedule here in the next month and a half.
No doubt, and not to let me just say this: barring injuries, this team has a lot of potential, and I don't think it's the ceiling now. I think that it's certainly the floor. Is we're only into game 4 that we're talking about right now, and my concern, Bubba, this is one question I had for you coming in today. I was sitting there yesterday saying, how great I was thinking about how great this team is looking so far. But my concern is, what about the bench? What about our depth? Because if, God forbid, I'm not saying I want any of the Pirates, obviously, or anybody for that matter to get hurt. But if one or two of our guys go down, are there guys that you feel like they can come off the bench and step up?
Yeah, the biggest question mark that I'd have right now is just the front court, and having contributions from the front court, not having that rim protector, and then also, like you mentioned, depth. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of scoring, but you need to get some quality minutes from Sir Malonga and Callum Richard, Reed Kaysen. Those bigs. You're not going to get a ton of scoring, but if you can get 5 and 4, 5 and 5, and stuff on a consistent basis, and get a solid 15 minutes, and maybe more at times, but obviously that just depends on matchups. But if you can get something like that, because you look at going back to yesterday's box score very quickly, my dad and I were discussing this earlier. Out of the 50 minutes, you had R.J. Felton, 46 minutes, Jordan Riley, 43 minutes, C.J. Walker, 44 minutes, Jay Woodard, 42 minutes, and Cam Hayes, 37 minutes, Jan Farrell, 15 minutes, and Julian Samaro, 19 minutes, and then Sear played just 4 minutes of the 50. So that's something.
There's only 8 players and I was getting at not only the 5 that we talked about had a lot of minutes, but also the fact that there was only 8 players that played. And I understand, like, you and I are both in that camp of, I'm not saying that I want players just to play. Don't misunderstand me like a warm body. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying my point is it's okay for the right now. But as that season wears on in January and February, as you're getting deeper into the conference play, that's when the number of minutes and miles on the body, if you will, starts to add up. And so that's my concern is these other guys, young guys. But again, coach is making the right decisions because they're 4-0. And I'm sure if he had it his way, he would love to add a few more players, 2 or 3 more guys, maybe a 10-man rotation. Obviously, it's not going to be 16 like we have on the team, but we know that. But I would like to see a few more players play if they can. If they're not ready to play, then that's a whole nother story. And then that's probably the case as of right now. And the other thing is, Bubba, with a team like George Mason, you know that they're going to give you, even back in our days of CAA, way back in the day when I was going to school, they're going to give you a fight. They always have had, good basketball for the most part. And so it's going to be a battle. And to me, the way that I equated it is it was like a heavyweight fight. There were so many back and forths and punch after punch after punch. And just when you thought a team was going to pull away, the other team would come back. And so I would have to compliment our team with the grittiness, the mental toughness, the never give up attitude, for sure.
No doubt. And Richard Denton chiming in here on YouTube. Appreciate your comment, Richard. He's saying that he really likes Jay Woodard, the two-time JUCO All-American, originally from New York. And he likes Jay as a fifth starter, and no doubt I do as well, Richard. And he's one that as soon as we signed Jay Woodard out of JUCO, and I was extremely excited about seeing his film and everything that I thought he would be able to bring to the table, and he has thus far. And I look forward to seeing how he continues to progress as the season goes along. And then KC saying CJ Walker did great, hyping the crowd up from out of the timeout. And also KC there, I think it was probably in the last 5 minutes of regulation, because I was going to disagree a little bit regarding the crowd. It wasn't a terrible crowd by any means, but the crowd was not into it as though I felt they could have been. And because it's not like it was a game where we were not shooting well, but we had been right there, either leading or within 2 possessions throughout, and against a quality opponent. And you saw Mike Schwartz there in the last 5 minutes get really animated and wave his arms, telling the crowd get up and make some noise. And from that point on, the last 12 to 15 minutes, Pirate Nation really did a lot better job, and the student turnouts thus far this year have been pretty
Really
good, and hopefully they'll do nothing but grow. And as much as the purple seats down low were great, I know you have season tickets there, Dave, and those sell out, but it's frustrating seeing a lot of the empty seats there. And obviously we had the empty seats when those were students, primarily students and visiting fans. But part of me just misses the majority of the lower bowl, with the exception of the visiting fans behind their bench being students. Back in the days of Conference USA, when we had Cincinnati, Louisville, and the like coming in, and the lower bowl was largely full, game in, game out, and rocking.
Yeah, and we as a program can do a better job, and I'm not pointing fingers at any one person, but I really believe that we can do a better job of getting more students there. And certainly with the one factor, obviously winning is a big thing, but also let's make these games events. I mean, yesterday was a good matchup, a good test for our Pirates, and 4:00 on a Saturday afternoon. It's really good. It's a great time. And right afterwards, you can go to one of the great restaurants in Greenville and get you something to eat. But I know, Bubba, you like Tiebreakers, and I know Parker's, different places, but like myself. But this particular case with the students, when I was in school, I know a lot of people can agree. When I was a student, I was so broke, and to have like a free pizza or something like that. And I know coaches in the past have done that, but let's give some some incentives for, coming out and camping out for tickets and things like that. But I know that's been done in the past, but I'm hoping that we can do that more in the future with this program. And I think when you start seeing more wins, there'll be more people sitting in the seats, Bubba. I agree with you. I looked to my left, and I'm for the men's games, I'm behind the opposing team, and you look to your left, and there was a lot of purple seats that people are not sitting there. So hopefully we can get that done here soon. More people.
Yeah, definitely. I think the promotions have been pretty good in recent years, and for the Mount Olive game, which we won 110-73. It was military appreciation, and that night, I think, I don't know, perhaps the first 500 students in attendance received a pretty cool camo towel with the Jolly Roger logo.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really nice, and saw that on X. But you're going to a comment here from Johnny Robertson on YouTube. He said, "Good job, guys. You've already covered everything I was going to comment on. I will add that I prefer that CJ Walker doesn't jack up 4 threes a game." And so yeah, taking a look at that, I know we've run over some of the numbers as far as the scoring.
0 for 4.
But there you see ECU shot 33.8%, just 22 sticks from 3, 7 out of 31, as Dave mentioned earlier, right at 72%, 23 out of 32 from the line, 49 rebounds, including those 24 offensive rebounds that were so big since it was such a poor shooting afternoon, and 14 steals. ECU had 14 turnovers, and I know George Mason finished the afternoon with 19 turnovers, as you would have guessed when you see ECU with such a large number with those 14 steals. And clearly, the bench production is not what you're going to need. And Travion LeBeau missed the game, and he's someone that had been playing, between 15 and 20 minutes.
No doubt. Coach was asked about that. It definitely, I'm not being critical of the guys. I'm just saying, but you look at your guys like those starting 5 right there, really quick, Bubba, sorry. But 44, 41, 46, 37, 43. Yes, you want them to be playing a lot of minutes. And I know there was double overtime, so I get the 44, 40, some of those were a lot higher than normal. However, yes, they were in great shape. The coach talked about that in the post-game press conference, that the practices have been going to overtime. I get all that. All I'm saying is we're in game 4, and when you get to game 20 or 25 of the season, then you got to have more players giving you quality minutes. And that's my prayer, is that we'll find a way to get those guys more involved, and those guys will do better in practice time, because better practice time, when you're better in practice, means you get playing time, as you guys know. So it's going to be interesting to see. JR, you're the best. And Johnny Stats, we appreciate him so much for contributing. And I know that with the season coming up, Bubba, do you have any? I know we've got to get out of here in a few minutes, but what are your takeaways so far? So far, so good is what I would say. I'm the guy that said 14 wins. So it's kind of like reverse psychology, I think, for me. So I am going to stick to my 14.
So Dave thinks we're going to go, let's see, 10-17 the rest of the way.
Well, it's one of those things where the conference play, I would say, is what I'm looking at. I think we're doing well so far in non-conference. We'll have to wait and see on that. Hey, here's did you see that next comment that Johnny has from YouTube? He says, on the season, Cam Hayes has a ridiculous assist to turnover ratio, 17-2.
Yeah, Cam Hayes, of course, with that background at NC State as well as LSU, but definitely experienced playing the point, and had played it a little in the past for the Pirates as well. And he's done an excellent job, of taking care of the basketball thus far. And hopefully we'll see that continue. Moving into Thursday's game against Jacksonville State. And speaking of that, let's go to that bracket for the Boardwalk Battle down in Daytona Beach, Florida, which will begin on Thursday morning. ECU will be playing the third game of day 1, and game 1 at 11 a.m. Tipping off James Madison and Illinois Chicago. The second game at 1 o'clock approximately will be LaSalle and UC San Diego. At 3:30, East Carolina and Jacksonville State, Pirates and Gamecocks. And then in the nightcap, it will be the Toledo Rockets taking on the Stetson Hatters at 5:30. But as you look at that event, no, there's not a ton of household names. It's what the outsiders would label as, quote, mid-major teams. You do have some more Atlantic 10 competition there in LaSalle potentially. The East Carolina, will play if the Pirates take care of business. They will meet either Toledo or Stetson. In the second game on Friday, and then obviously one of those other four teams in the third game on Saturday.
Yeah, and Bubba, I don't know. I'm sorry, I had it on mute. I don't know if you said, but it's for those that are interested in watching it. It's on Baller TV, and I actually know what Baller TV is because my son Alex had a travel ball team, and we played in tournaments, and they broadcasted the games, so you could watch it on your tablet and your phone. Most of the games I was there with Alex. I missed one game, but anyway, Baller TV. It's only $5 a game, so. And let me just tell you, most likely from my experience of Baller TV, it's probably just going to be a camera. So what I would do is I would put the TV or however you're getting Baller TV on mute and then listen to the game on 94.3. But $5 a game, I don't think it's bad at all. Do you, Bubba?
No, hopefully it'll be a quality production. At least good video and so forth. Not as concerned about the announcing, but at least quality video. But hopefully we'll go down to Daytona Beach, play well, and who knows, maybe come home 7-0, and that would set up the final game in November, the day of the Navy game, which you are able to attend for just $5 if you don't already have tickets. If you have a Navy football ticket, take that at the ticket office and purchase a basketball ticket following the football game that afternoon, and watch the Pirates take on the North Carolina A&T Aggies. And hopefully, like I said, who knows, maybe the Pirates will be able to go perfect, 8-0 in the month of November, which would set up, I believe our first game in the month of December is that Tuesday night matchup with the Seahawks, as they'll be in Williams Arena-Minges Coliseum once again, and we won a thriller against the Seahawks last year in Minges.
Yes, we did. And Bubba, I wanted to mention too that $5 promotion, whenever we can. Some people may think we hate on the administration, but what a great idea, because you already have people at the football game. Then that's a noon football game, right, Bubba, for the Navy game, and then right afterwards you can have the pleasure of going. I plan on being there, and that game is going to be great. But $5 to get in? Are you kidding me? You can make it I know the Rosenbaums will probably make it a day there on Black Friday. They won't be shopping; they'll be at the football and basketball game. But kudos to the administration. Whenever they do something right that we feel is right, then obviously we give them credit. It's not all negative all the time. Or jock, or hot takes here on the Sports Objective. Great promotion, and you can get your tickets at ecpirates.com or 1-800-DIAL-ECU. $5 tickets, just in a day and age, a great deal, because the regular price tickets, by the way, if you don't know, are $20 for adults. So a $5 ticket is a great deal. And, if you get the people in, they get loud, as we talked about, they buy concessions, then great thing.
Yeah, I remember back, and I think it was maybe perhaps year 1 or year 2 of Skip Holtz. We had our final home football game, and it was also a basketball game that day against Wofford, and ended up having, I think, right at 6,000 in attendance when they ran a promotion like this. So hopefully that day we'll have around the same, at least about 6,000 for North Carolina A&T. That'd be great.
Yeah. By the way, Bubba, Robert Matthews, I responded to him, but he said, Bubba, when do baseball season tickets go on sale? I checked the other day as I was making a basketball payment, and I was told they're working on things. They're going to send us an email, but it should be the end of this month, meaning November, when baseball season tickets go on sale. So get ready to pay. This is a tough time of year when you're trying to pay for, or at least I am, basketball and baseball coming up. It's not easy, but I love my Pirates that much, and it'll be great.
Yeah, look forward to, obviously a lot of new pieces. 31, I believe, 31 or 32 new players to the Pirate roster, and look forward to another great season under Coach Godwin and staff. I mean, a lot of reasons to be excited, of course, and we'll talk more about that as it gets closer.
No doubt when we have January, we'll have more of our hot stove league, if you will, as we will be talking baseball then, as the Pirates will start in February. It's not that far away. Hard to believe. Time is flying. Christmas will be here. It's just around the corner, and Thanksgiving is knocking at the door. Bubba, do you need to get out of here? I know that we're a little bit over time, so I want to make sure, no pun intended, but do you need to get out of here?
Very quickly, we'll run through some of the results in the American.
Okay.
We'll take a look at what's been taking place around the league. We'll start off with yesterday's results, and there have been some quality non-conference victories, and but just running through the scores as a whole. You had, of course, East Carolina and George Mason playing a double overtime game yesterday. Missouri State took down Tulsa in triple overtime, 111-106.
Wow.
You had Rice defeating Northwestern State 77-75. The Owls are now 3-1. Tulsa also, I forgot to mention their record, that the Golden Hurricane is 3-1 as well. Florida Atlantic won a thriller against the Liberty Flames, and that one was in an extra period as well, just a single overtime there. Florida Atlantic 77, Liberty 74. Going to the AAC standings, and then obviously league play doesn't begin for several more weeks, but the Memphis Tigers, Memphis is 3-0, North Texas 3-0. The Mean Green got a nice win the other night over a Big Ten foe, Minnesota. I believe that was up in Williams Arena, and that one was 54-51. You have Wichita State. The Shockers are 3-0. That includes a 91-84 win to open the season at Western Kentucky. Also wins over Montana State and Northern Iowa, winning 79-63 in that matchup against the Panthers. Rice, as I mentioned, 3-1. Tulane 3-1. Temple 3-1. Charlotte is 2-1. The 49ers' lone loss came at Utah State, which is always a great basketball program. 103-74 was that loss for the 49ers to the Aggies. Then they bounced back with a 65-48 win at Halton Arena against the Richmond Spiders out of the Atlantic 10. You have FAU 3-2, South Florida 2-2, UAB 2-2, and the UTSA Roadrunners are 1-2. Taking a look at UAB, their victories came over Southern Miss and Southeastern Louisiana. They lost to Vermont, which is always strong and winning its league and going to the big dance. They beat the Catamount, lost to the Catamount 67-62 in the opener, and then most recently to High Point. Bobby Pettiford is, I think he may be injured for High Point, but the Panthers defeated the Blazers 68-65 in High Point just the other night. But that's a quick look at what's taking place around the American. I mentioned the Memphis Tigers being 3-0, and wanted to reference on who those victories came over. They defeated Missouri 83-75, UNLV 80-74, and Ohio 94-70. So 3 quality wins there for Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, we'll see how, if there's ever been a hot seat, when you say that Hardaway is on the hot seat, he seemed to be last year for sure. But they love their basketball in Memphis. So, and they have a lot of tradition and reason to be frustrated, but hopefully they can, for their sakes, they can have a good year. And it also helps for us with the league, for sure, to have multiple bids and not just maybe one. Let's see. Anyway, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't forget, if you're watching live, that we'll have our Pirate football playback, and we'll have to watch out for Justin Butts. We might have to be a referee with him and Kyle. We'll find out about that. But I appreciate everybody listening and watching. The Pirates get a big win again, 78-77 in double overtime against George Mason. And you watched it and learn more about it tonight on our Pirate Basketball Overtime right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. See you later on the Pirate Football Playback. Here, go Pirates.